welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Kristoff Berner, Senior Director of Digital at Siara. Kristoff, thanks very much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Hi, Charlie. Hi to everyone on the call out there. First of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing fine. We have a beautiful day. I'm located in Vienna, in Europe, in the heart of Europe, more or less. And yeah, we have a lot of snow, so really winter wonderland. So yeah, doing pretty good.
Oh wow, very nice. Yeah, we definitely don't have that. I'm also in Belgium, well, in Europe, in Belgium, close to Brussels, which is another heart of Europe, I suppose. But unfortunately, no snow, no snow. Well, I'm sorry to kind of bring you indoors to talk about some of the trends, traps, and solutions in regards to generative AI powered virtual agents. Now, this has been a big topic, obviously, in 2023, and what I'm surprised we've not kind of talked about specifically. We've talked about various different use cases with generative AI in the contact center, but not so much in regards to conversational AI specifically. Maybe I think the best place to start this conversation is by asking you kind of how has generative AI helped to bolster the abilities of virtual agents, maybe in the contact center?
Mhm. Yeah, sure. Well, I would say generative AI and the large language models behind them are transforming at the moment the entire contact center world. And to be honest, we see them transforming the entire world around contact centers also. So the hype that is generated here is accelerating and at the same time broadening the adoption of virtual agents in contact centers like we have seen nothing else before doing it. And Gen AI can here, for example, help to extend the capabilities of these virtual agents with increased personalization, with the ability to understand context, and at the end of the day, with a way much better and improved natural language understanding. And this is what it is about. You need to understand your clients and their intentions in a contact center. And yeah, at the end of the day, this allows these virtual agents to digest, to understand very complex queries also, and to respond here in a way much more human-like manner. And this, at the end of the day, then of course also significantly improves the customer experience overall. And then in addition, you can also have to take into consideration that these Gen AI capabilities can allow virtual agents to learn and evolve based on all the inputs they get. Yeah, which means nothing less that they are becoming better and better in providing customer service with every query they answer. And finally, and this is maybe the most important stuff for the enterprises leveraging these technologies, well, with LLMs and generative AI, you can save a huge amount of time and effort when it comes to building such virtual agents. So instead of starting here from zero, you simply take a foundation model like ChatGPT or GPT that is behind ChatGPT, that is already trained with huge amounts of data, e.g. the internet, for example, and you simply fine tune it with your own data. And this way of doing it reduces the time to market of these virtual agents and therefore, of course, also the costs, which are at the end of the day important for enterprises to build such a virtual agent to a minimum. But like most of the time in our lives, whenever there is something very great on one side, there's also a downside on the other side, and this other side is simply that by leveraging these technologies, you're also giving up control, because we don't know what GPT is doing in the background with our data and how they are producing answers in detail, and are they relying to all these privacy guidelines out there? And as you mentioned, you're also located in the European Union, where we have the European AI Act and so on. So are they compliant? Honestly, we don't know, and therefore these technologies are great, but they need to have guardrails in place, and someone needs to test these guardrails. And this is where we come in place. This is what Siara is doing.
Yeah, and I do want to dig into that a little bit deeper. First, I'm going to reflect on what you kind of said at the start of your answer. I mean, there's so many use cases already out there for kind of applying generative AI to bots. At the start, there's kind of post deployment, almost, you have kind of the increased scope of the virtual agent, so it can handle queries which it hasn't been built for. And then there's also sort of use cases where you can kind of give the bot a persona. I've seen a lot of vendors start doing that. You kind of enabling the bot to respond in a certain way to customers, and then kind of there's another use case of kind of translating one bot for another market. So if you want to go into Spanish market, you can kind of use generative AI to much quicken the pace of building that bot. And when in building, you can also kind of automate long lists of customer utterances, to build into the bot. To spot intent opportunities. Yeah, there's so many possibilities out there, and it's great that you covered lots of those. But as you said, there is, without the correct guardrails, a significant kind of a risk associated with this technology. It'd be great if you can maybe dive in a little bit deeper and tell us about some of the traps that you maybe see with this virtual agent evolution.
Yeah, so as said before, I think we all can see this hype generated, and this creates, at least from what I'm seeing in the market, a bit of an over reliance on AI and their capabilities, and people are a bit overseeing the risks being introduced, and no one questions these risks. Yeah, so it's OpenAI is not questioning them, or Google, or Microsoft, or whoever you want to name here. Yeah? Gen AI generated data introduces a pretty long list of risks, yeah? and everyone is aware of the famous hallucinations, so bots and the data they generate being completely made up. And the main issue that I see here is that they are doing this in a very convincing and confident way. Yeah? So if we remember the introduction of Google's Bard, where this question about this telescope taking the first picture from outer space of the world, and it immediately comes back with a super convincing answer, and the technology is provided by Google, so everyone takes it for serious. And then wasn't it? I think it was the NASA who twittered then an hour later, well, this was simply wrong, and the market immediately reacted. Alphabet shares going down 7 or 8%, which meant, I don't know, $100 billion lost. So hallucinations is one thing. The smaller version of hallucinations is simply inaccurate data, and this is something, depending on the domain your contact center is in, you desperately want to avoid. Yeah? If you are a pharmacy company and someone calls and asks, how many pills of medicine X can I take? You need a very accurate answer, because people, could take harm or even die in worst case. Yeah? So that's the first risk. Another one, and this is one that OEMs are telling us a lot. So the big players are fearing a bit misuse, or what we would call misuse. Yeah? And this is simply, everyone easily can digest this example of asking about how to build a bomb. And based on the knowledge from the entire internet, for example, it of course can answer such a question. But the more realistic examples are things like, I tried yesterday to ask a telecom bot that is leveraging LLMs, how can I change the brakes on my car? Because they have to be changed, and I couldn't get an appointment from a mechanic quickly. And just for fun, I asked it. Yeah? And this telecom company uses the so-called few shot model, meaning that they have their own labeled data for their business cases, and whatever the bot cannot answer, what is not covered there, is routed to an LLM and Gen AI behind. And this was exactly such a case. Now, the telecom bot has no idea how to change brakes on a car, so it goes to the LLM, and it came back with a perfect step-by-step description, even telling me in general how the system works, and pictures for my car model. So it was great. But the thing is, should I change as an IT guy the brakes on my car? Honestly, I should not. And seeing it from the other side, if I am a telecom provider, should my virtual agent answer stuff like this? Of course not. Yeah, you don't want to do it. So this is typically misuse, and this goes further, yeah, ending up in reverse engineering and prompt injections and stuff like that. And then, in addition, we have all the bias and the ethical topics that anyway the whole world is discussing already. In Europe, we have the AI Act, as mentioned before, and in America now, all the states are following with their own regulations. So will be pretty tough and tricky to test those things. In general, data privacy security is a huge thing. The European AI Act requires you here to be fully transparent what you're doing with data. That's challenging if you're using an LLM behind. Model drift is a term that is everywhere around. I mentioned before that these technologies can learn from every interaction. But the thing is, if you don't control this with continuous maintenance, updates, and so on, they could also learn bad stuff. And then we are again back at not enough accuracy, and in worst case, maybe even hallucinations again. And yeah, this list goes on. Yeah, it's a pretty long one. At the end of the day, I also see a big lack of planning, to be honest, talking to our clients. At the moment, it feels like every enterprise, every management or board is telling their team, we need to leverage these technologies. It's the new big thing. And I'm not questioning this. You know, so I'm pretty sure that in a certain amount of time, most of the virtual agents out there will be leveraging it. But without proper planning, this ends up usually in a disaster. Yeah? So these systems need rigorous testing, and this is again what we are trying to do.
Yeah, and there's lots of great stuff in there. And you mentioned the public gaffes that generative AI solutions like Bard have made, and then also you kind of talked a little bit about the potential for bias that lies within the LLM models that power these generative AI augmented virtual agents. That's kind of created this trust gap with generative AI, which the recent meltdown at OpenAI didn't exactly help. Do you kind of see this trust gap though as kind of a enterprise adoption barrier, or not at all really?
Yeah, it's well, I'm split here somehow into two opinions. You know these cartoon pictures with the angel and the devil on your shoulders. So as an engineer, you have to leverage these technologies. It's so good. You can build great stuff so quickly. And as long as you put the necessary quality gates there and as you do rigorous testing, it's also safe. So do I see this trust gap? Yes, I get these questions, and 10 out of 10 of our clients and 10 out of 10 of new prospects are asking if we can help them there. Yeah? So on one side, yes, they all want to use it and leverage it. So they didn't lose trust completely. But on the other side, they also realized that they need this kind of testing. As you mentioned, the drama or the meltdown at OpenAI, there I'm not sure. Yeah, for me, this whole situation with Sam Altman leaving, being then for half a day at Microsoft, being back on the next day at OpenAI. Um, well, I'm not a marketing guy, yeah, but it somehow feels like one of the best marketing initiatives we have seen back in 2023. And if we look at the stock market of OpenAI, so it didn't do any harm to them. I think OpenAI is worth more than $80 billion at the moment, and this is for sure in the top three list of most valuable startups around. So, yeah, I think this meltdown, as you called it, or drama, as I would call it, mainly shed a lot of light on how commercial competition is having impact and how it's shaping the development of AI systems. So that's definitely happening. Um, the trust gap resulting from this is not really a barrier to enterprise adoption. I would be, as mentioned before, way more concerned about the unpredictability of outputs this Gen AI is generating, about ethics, about transparency, about data privacy, about misuse, about all this stuff. This is what I would fear. But no, I don't see this trust gap being that big.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting to hear. But let's maybe kind of revert back to some of those points, such as the kind of misinformation, the data privacy, and kind of all of those traps that you mentioned earlier. It'd be great to hear kind of how you at Siara are helping to kind of cover over these and restore maybe some trust. within generative AI
Mhm.
powered virtual agents.
Yeah, that's a challenging one, not content-wise, but not to sound like a sales guy here. But yeah, as I mean, also we of course see this trend and this hype. So our main initiative in the last year, and also in the next year, will be delivering testing capabilities for LLMs, Gen AI, and the data, and especially the risks they introduce. Siara Botium is a testing and optimization platform for conversational AI. And in the past, we were doing kind of everything you need to deliver here some flawless customer experience. And then this starts with making sure your training model performs and goes through continuous regression testing and testing your dialog flows, the dialog management, and doing it end to end on all your preferred channels, and doing security and performance and monitoring. And this is the moment where I sound already like a sales guy. So coming back more to LLMs and technically, well, what we have done is we are shipping testing features for all these risks that I mentioned before. Yeah? So when we are talking about hallucinations or inaccurate data, we are shipping a feature that we call fact checker, or maybe marketing will call it truthfulness checker or content evaluation, however you want to call this. Yeah? And this will simply tell our clients if their virtual agents are making up stuff, if they are accurate and how accurate they are. And it's going a bit away from this traditional testing of true and false or red and green, ending up more to your bot is giving answers that are 80% correct because here we found it's true because of ABCD, but we also found there that there's a slight drift in it. Yeah? It's mixing up stuff here or whatever. So what we are giving back here is or we are reducing this level of uncertainty. Yeah? And this goes down this list. Yeah, for this kind of inappropriated data being produced. We have built a misuse checker that tests all these guardrails. Yeah, these are most probably billions of test cases trying to break these virtual agents and the LLMs behind them. And at the end of the day, to be blunt here, like always in testing, you will never have 100% safety. This is not possible. But we can tell you that these billions of cases are fine. Yeah, and your bot is not going to answer how to change brakes or brake discs and stuff. Yeah, and as said, there will be a security check, a privacy check, a bias check. We are just experimenting with this bias checker, and it's insane how biased AI is if you really dig into it. Yeah, but it's simply due to the nature of the data we have. Yeah, Google now, or to not advertise Google here, use whatever search engine and search for, I don't know, 10 great engineers, founders, whatever, yeah, in history, and you will always get 10 men, yeah, which is simply crazy. And our bias checker will tell you, well, your virtual agent is biased to this level, yeah, and you should do something, or simply not. And yeah, that's what we are doing. At the end of the day, all these features together will make sure that these guardrails of virtual agents are in place and that you are safe using them.
Yeah, there's lots of really great stuff there. My final question, actually, I do want to maybe dive a bit deeper into kind of some of those checkers that you mentioned. Is there anything that maybe more you can tell us about what's on the roadmap at Siara to help kind of circumvent a lot of the kind of pitfalls we've talked about today?
Yeah, so what I'm allowed to tell you and share is all the LLM testing stuff. As I said before, we are shipping in January the first MVPs for it, and we have a pretty long queue already of clients waiting for them. So yeah, we will collect feedback like always with such new things, and here also. To be completely honest, that's new for us. That's new for our clients. Yeah, so most probably we will pretty soon ship then the next versions of this stuff. And then over the year, as said, security, privacy checker, bias checker, We will do stuff to avoid deepfakes, all these risks that I introduced. That's one big initiative. Another big initiative is that we just extended the Siara family with a company called Qbox. Qbox was or is a leader in measuring model performance. We did this also before, but Qbox did it in a bit different way, and we are integrating or incorporating their functionalities into our platform now. And this is also that or something that will come pretty soon to our clients. So they will log into the platform and simply have even more possibilities there to test and optimize their conversational AI. And yeah, these are the two big initiatives for the next year.
Yeah, well, it's great to kind of hear all that. And what I'll do for everybody watching, I'll put a link to Siara's website so they can learn more about some of those capabilities that you mentioned, and also a link to the Qbox acquisition article too. But I think maybe that's a great place to end today's chat. So thank you very much for joining me today, Kristoff.
It was a big pleasure. Thanks again for having me, Charlie. Bye bye.
Excellent. And also thanks to everybody for watching. Bye for now.